Sometimes we get afraid of pain. Really, it's a calling to draw our attention to something. Our arm might be in pain, but don't run away from that pain. It's calling for your attention.
100%.
To saying, look at this. You need to deal with this. But there's things that when we are suffering on a mind level and we've got anxiety or whatever, even that is drawing our attention to something. To saying that you've come away from your home of Sahaj and let that uncomfortable feeling, that pain that turns into then a suffering because of the way we are responding to it, actually it's just calling us back. It's bringing to our attention, look, that is what is that? Bhi Daat
100%.
Teree Daataar. Like if we didn't have some form of uncomfortableness, pain or something come up, how would I even know that I've come away from my true home, from Waheguru?
100%.
Yeah. So that is Bhi Daat. It's a gift from the giver of gifts. Pain is to let us know that something's off.
100%.
To say you've come away. And that pain allows us, it can become then our gift as a calling back to say you need to go back to that Sahaj.
Waheguru.
Welcome to the Japji Sahib Podcast. Today we'll be going through the 25th stanza blessed to us by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. In this stanza we're going to be looking at something very interesting, which is where does our pain come from? And how can that pain, which then turns into suffering, can it be helpful to us? Let's get straight into it. Saying Fateh to our guest, Jagmeet saying,
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki
Fateh. So we're going to go straight into the first pankti, the first line, where Guruji is saying, Bahuta Karam, Likhia na Jaae. So here, the word Karam is taken from the Arabic language, which means blessing or kirpa, grace. And so then here it's saying Bahuta Karam, that one's blessings are abundant. Yeah. And if we try to make an attempt of writing that down or putting an account to how abundant those blessings are, then Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Likhia na Jaae, that it cannot be accounted for or written down because how abundant the blessings of that one are.
Vaheguru, perfect. And you know what? I've never had it explained to me like that. And like for my life, that makes sense. And like because Vaheguru Ji Maharaj keeps, like we get beyond the kirpa, beyond the blessings, even this moment that we have now, the breath that we have. Like, and a person like myself is so unappreciative of all that I get, all that we get every single day and take it completely for granted. And only in moments of consciousness and reflection do we think, wow, like Vaheguru. And I think like each moment that we have to continue life is the blessing.
We can become very unappreciative.
Hanji.
So that the Guru is going to talk about when we become like that in the next few lines.
And that was only after your new explanation.
Yeah.
That was the reflection I got. It made more deeper sense to me.
Which then makes so much sense for this karam to be kirpa or blessings.
Yes.
And I think we can cover more as we go along.
Hanji.
And we go to the next pankti, because I can share with you how I've experienced this abundance in my life. And I think when we share something that is very personal, and then this becomes all the more real to us. So let's just look at it right now. So when Maharaj is saying Bahuta Karam, that wow, abundant are your blessings. Sometimes we close our eyes to that, but something I'm really trying to do with my life right now is not to close my eyes to what those blessings are. And because the moment, especially myself, the moment I close my eyes to those blessings, I start to fall into a very low state of mind, meaning low mood. And even that it can start turning into depression, personally for myself, something that I've experienced in my life. So I know one of my actual saviors is to recognize the abundance.
You've just helped me make a paradigm shift, because I realize now that I've been reading and understanding from a very egocentric position where it's all about me, and I leave thou out of it. And like my life has been a testament to, it's a battle between the shadow self and the higher self. And I've been so identified with the shadow self, which is a lack mentality.
Would you like to just expand on what you are referring to, what you mean by the shadow self or the Sangat?
Well, I never understood these concepts as
and for me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no. Yeah, these words, when you use them, I'm glad, we got to get into what the actual expression behind that is.
Yeah.
So I never understood words like, or concepts in Gurbani like duality. To me, it sounded right, but I never understood by experience what that was. And when I started my life, and as I came, got elder and bigger, and went through life, I always had this concept of myself as Mr. Nice Guy. And if you would have, so I always thought, I'm not that bad comparatively to other people, right? Not that I was a saint, but I looking back, I was really that bad, right? But coming through it, I thought, Mr. Nice Guy, right? Mr. Nice Guy up until the point something angers me, and then I would describe now as evil, horrible, just like completely out of control, unconscious. This is what, upon reflection, right?
Can I just share with you, sometimes, we need certain things in that moment when that moment arises. And I know you've got your own methods that you have found as well for those moments, but there's a story that comes to my mind that I think could be very beneficial for the Sangat. It's based on a shabad that comes to mind, which is Raak Pita Prabh Mere, Mohin Nirgun Sab Gun Tere. Such a beautiful shabad by Guru Arjan Dev Ji. There's a heartfelt benti here. And it's saying, Raak Pita Prabh Mere. Saying, Hey Mere Pita, oh my father, oh Vaheguru, save me. Raak Pita Prabh Mere. And I want to be saved because in this moment, because life is moment to moment, in this very specific moment, something's happened. And what's happened is Mohin Nirgun. I've lost those divine qualities, which are you. I've resisted you. And I've fallen into, in this moment, Mohin Nirgun, where I've lost those qualities. That pyar, that prem, that love, that compassion, it's gone. I'm absent from that. And then Sab Gun Tere. Because my ego possesses all of the opposite to that. My ego comes from a place of survival, which then comes irritation, frustration, anger. Yeah? Because I'm trying to survive. And then I'm recognizing that Sabgun Tere. But something here is saying, well, this is just, it's quite humorous, but so serious. It's saying, look, Panch Bikhadi, Ek Agripa. Look, there's 5 of you, and there's just 1 of me, man. Come on. Is this even a fair fight? Yeah, there's calm, there's lust, there's desires, there's growth, there's anger, there's more, there's attachment, there's love, there's greed, there's arrogance, there's all of them, and then there's just me. I've got to fight all of them. Panch Bikhadi, Ek Agriba. But it says, Rakho Rakhan Hare. Come on, oh Savior, save me. Just khed kare yaar, bahut santav hai. They torment me and they are torturing me. Khed kare, khed means they torment me, aur bahut santav hai. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਸਤਾਉਂਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੈ ਬੰਦਾ, torturing me, saying, Ayo sharan tuhare, I come into your sanctuary. But how? We've got to find different ways of how to get into that sanctuary. And a story comes to my mind, which something maybe you can take away, and I'm definitely going to try and take away, is Bhai Veer Singh Ji was walking in the Prakarma of Sri Darbar Sahib, Sri Harmandir Sahib in Amritsar. They lived in Amritsar with their Nana Ji. And they were walking in the Prakarma, and they were just really happy, joyfully observing everyone, the different ways people are connecting. So they saw one person singing along the kirtan that was happening in Sri Darbar Sahib. So ਉਹ ਬੈਠੇ ਉਹ ਨਾਲ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਅੰਦਰ ਪੜ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਨਾਲ ਪੜੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ. They're reading along, singing along the shabad, and Bhai Veer Singh like, wow, beautiful, beautiful. Goes down a bit and you saw somebody in just complete utter samadhi state, right, in this deep meditation state. And he thought, wow, look, that jode hoya. Carried on walking, but then he saw something odd. And he thought, this one's strange. He saw somebody that was shouting out in this erratic manner, different bangtiyan and shabads to what were being sang inside. Bhai Veer Singh said, that's odd. He's in samadhi. He's, singing along the kirtan. This is conflicting. And Bhai Veer Singh waited and went up to this person, went up to this Gursikh and said, just tapped him on his shoulder after he's like calmed down a bit. And Bhai Veer Singh said, Bhai Sahib, shabad hor ga ho rahe andar. Tusi pangtiyan hor uchi uchi bolde hain. Ye gal ki hui? They said a different shabad inside and you're shouting, screaming out different bani. Kende ki hoya? Kenda chor pa gaye si, chor pa gaye si, chor pa gaye si. He said, the thieves got me. The thieves got me. Kende lut liya oye, lut liya oye, lut liya. He said, they looted me. Bhai Veer Singh ji kende. And in that moment, it feels like, when they come, when Maharaj say that, is dehi andar panch chor vas hai. Kaam, krodh, lobh, moh, hankara, amrit loota. Manmukh nahi bujha. In that moment, we become manmukh. We turn our back to that divine, that truth that sits inside of us. And those 5 start taking our amrit, taking our nectar, the nectar of sweetness and humility. True nectar is our humility. And it's taken it. And he says, they've looted me. Like complete, they've used the word plunder, plundered me. Bhai Veer Singh ji kende kede chor pa gaye? What thieves got you? Kenda kaam ne pa liya jaal mere utte yaar. He says the net of kaam, sexual desire took over my mind. And he said, I needed to save myself. He said, so I started just shouting out whatever lines that came to my mind that can save me from those thieves. And he says, in that moment, all I could think was, Raak Pita Prabh Mere. Oh, my Father, save me. Mohe nirguna sab gun tere. And he said that, main mere pita ji nu awaaz marni shuru kar diti. I started calling out to my Father. And sometimes you'll connect to Parmeshwar, Vaheguru, or to one of your gurus as being the Father. And Virji, let me tell you, there's so much power just in the name of our gurus. Just in the name of our gurus. We don't need to go into their lives, nothing. Sometimes when you're struggling, just say, Dhan Guru Gobind Singh Sahib. Yeah? Dhan Kalgitar Sache Paatshah. There's people that have done this. They couldn't stop cutting their beard. They kept cutting it, keeping it, cutting it, keeping it. Then they just looked in their mirror and just says, Dhan Guru Gobind Singh Rakh lo mainu, just save me. And they've not been able to cut their beard again. The power, that's why it says that Japyo Jan Arjan Deva Guru, Fir Sankat Jon Garb na ayo. This is Patane Sivaiye said, those that just said Guru Arjan Dev Ji's name, Japyo Jan Arjan Deva Guru, Fir Sankat Jon Garb na, they escaped that cycle in that moment of coming and going. That's how much power is in the Guru's names. No? Bhai Veer Singh ji said, Asi samajh gaye, we understand. You used whatever method you needed in that moment to save yourself. And sometimes, Virji, when these things happen to us, we need to just start screaming out to our Guru. You know? That moment when it feels like no one's listening to me, but shout out to your Pita, and in that moment, call out to Guru Arjan Dev Ji and say that you sat on that tavi, shant, just give me a little iota of that shanti, that peace that you had inside of you. I'm only going to need that much from you. That's going to save me from this burning anger in this moment. You know? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਬੈਠੇ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਅੱਗ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਚਮੜੀ ਸਾੜ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਸੀ it had burnt Guru Arjan Dev Ji's skin to the point where the skin had stuck to the tavi, to the hot burning plate. And Maharaj says, main khush haan. I'm happy because this is the nature of a hot plate that is hot to rip away my skin. How can I argue with that nature? All we need is a little seed from Guru Arjan Dev Ji. That's why it says, Kinka ek jis ji basawa. Just take one grain from Guru Arjan Dev Ji of their shanti, of their inside cold peace. Kinka ek jis ji basawa. If I can just take a little piece of that inside of me, taaki mehma gani na aave. The glory of Guru Arjan Dev Ji cannot be said. And this is the power of Gurbani. This is the power of using different ways and shouting out and just saying, oh, Rakhla Pita Meria, Rakh Pita Prabh Mere, Moin Nirgun Sab Gun Tere, Panch Bakhadi Ek Gariba Rakh Ho Rakhan Hare, Khed Kare Ar Bahut Santav Hai, Ayo Sharan Tuhare. Listen to this. Kar kar haryo anek bahu panti chod hai katuhu nahi. I've tried so many different ways. Kar kar haryo. I keep failing. I keep losing. Anek bahu panti. I've tried so many different things. Chod hai katuhu. They're not letting go of me. So then what do I need to do? Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, look, I've got your back. Let me tell you what you need. This is ek baat sunata ki ota saad sang mit jahi. They're saying, come into sangat. Come into saad sangat. And that will be taken away from you. You'll be saved. You know, I've heard that this is what can root those thieves out of your life. Somehow or another, get yourself into sangat. Get yourself into sangat. Kar kirpa sant mile mohe tinate dheeraj paya. I then started to experience dheeraj, this calm inside of me, with the grace that I was able to meet with saintly human beings. You know, so Sangat Ji, I was going to say that just take any of these methods that we are sharing. These are the things I use myself, you know, and it can be very strong when those energies take over and it feels like I've got no way out. Just whatever it might take in that moment. Like that man was sat, like that Gursikh was sat in the Prakarma and he just started shouting out, save me, save me, save me, oh my Father. And so if we come back, Veerji, to Bahuta Karam Likhia na Jaae. Look how beautiful this is. Vadda Data Dil na Tamaae. How can you not fall in love with that one? When he gives us these blessings, that such a great giver, he's saying, I have not even a little iota worth of tamanna of desire to get something back from you. Vaheguru saying, Allah, that's it, take it. That's it. That's Vaheguru. But that's what we want to become. Is that we naturally are so giving, we don't even know we are giving. There's not even a little iota of wanting anything back. No, not even a thought. No thought. And if that happens to us, then we know we're close to him. Then we know we are close to him. I don't want a pat on the back. I don't want you to, you say thank you, you don't say thank you. That's your problem. Dil na tamaae, no tamanna. Sorry, do you want to?
Everything you said there is like you're speaking the story of my life and my experience from darkness towards light. When we were talking earlier about the shadow self and the higher self. Shiv Charan Singh Ji said it in a lecture once that I heard. It really made a lot of sense. Shadow self and Singh self. The Singh, the lion in you. So in the beginning, I was so within unconsciousness that I didn't realize that what duality was. There was two. It never made sense to me, and I was so encapsulated with one being that I just thought this greed, this anger, this lust, ego, and attachment were just a part of me. And I thought when I'm utilizing these energies, again, I didn't know their energies at the time. I just thought that's how I am. That person's made me angry. And anger is the trickiest one for me because it's almost like a justifiable means to an end where you're thinking that this is coming from a place of love. You understand? And it's very like, then it's self-feeding and ego-filling, and you don't even feel you've done anything wrong. This was my life experience where I just thought, no, this person needs this, what I'm going to give them because they have it coming and I'm helping them, right? And then it came to a place that when I first heard by Jagraj Singh Ji and yourself many years ago speaking English in the Besa Sikhi videos and mention greed, attachment, ego, lust, and anger, I didn't know that even spirituality or Sikhi dealt with these things. And then I reflected upon myself and said, look, I'm riddled with this. And then you explained and made that Naam was the medicine and the cure. And then at least I entered the realm I entered the path or the stadium where I could fight the battle then. And then I started walking that path and understanding the value of Naam. And I started understanding, there's two me's. There's the me that I don't want to be, the shadow self, and the me that I would like to be, the Singh self, the higher self. And then there's a shadow and then the higher self. And now I'm starting to understand that before, even up until recently, my mentality was kill the shadow, become the higher. But now I'm understanding that for me, I've got to integrate the two, where to me, it's bakand to kill the shadow and become that might be the following steps. I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm at least at the place where I understand the duality within myself, and I'm in the state of jujna. I'm in the state of struggle. And I don't know if I'm ever going to, quote unquote, win the game of life, but at least I'm in the realm of fighting the fight within myself. And now whenever anger, so if I'm, again, you mentioned all these things, when I enter the realm of the Sadh Sangat, which means for me, what that means is coming to the basis of Sikhi programs, I come to where I'm dragged, basically. I don't even bring myself, I get dragged into it. Like, because I've got a wife and kids, I think if I don't go, they're going to miss out. So for their sake, I go. And when I go there, I become alive. It's like an instant change. And I used to think, what is going on with me? Because I'm one person when I'm not with the Sangat, and I'm a completely different person when I'm with the Sangat. And upon many years of reflection, I've come to understand that when I'm within the Sangat, that's the real me. That's the authentic me that I used to be before life dragged me down and destroyed me. Before I got put through the ringer of life and Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Hankar. Because when I was a child, these things were nothing to me. You know, if I got upset or angry, I expressed it and I moved on. It was completely different. It was innocent. It was a flow of energy. And so life and society's programming like made these energies eat me alive. Where had I remained the innocent child that I can see within my child, then I would be much farther ahead. So I'm in effect trying to undo what I have and life has done to me. So I'm in the undoing process, unlearning and reprogramming process.
You've literally just said Bhagat Farid Ji Slok. Just like word for word what you explained. Bhagat Farid Ji said, Je jana shahu nandada ta thoda maan kari. I couldn't believe that you're literally saying that without knowing the Salok itself. So Farid Ji is saying, if I had known Je jaanda main, je jana, Shaho is Vaheguru, Nandada, that Vaheguru is this innocent child, then tan thoda, I would have built a lot less arrogance into my life. Now I realize that I have to go backward to where I started as this innocent child. I've actually picked up all of this stuff And now I want to be with that one. And now I've realized this game is actually now going back to that. It's like, ਜੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, like what a beautiful, like ਸਿੱਧੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ, you know, ਆਪਾਂ ਯਾਰ ਜੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਚੱਕਦਾ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਖਾਤੇ ਯਾਰ ਐਵੇਂ ਚੱਕ ਲਿਆ ਸਮਾਨ.
It was bestowed upon me. It was bestowed upon me by life that I accepted this, because when I was free from struggle, meaning when I was living with my parents, I had 2 older brothers. I was the youngest, the older sister. I was the youngest. So I was the go with the flow kind of person. I thought life will just happen for me. Then when we got a bit elder, everybody kind of went their separate ways and I had to stand on my own 2 feet. And I realized how I can only say evil life can be or feel, you know?
You know, one thing you said earlier was that
Anji.
when anger came, you just did anger. It was all very innocent. And then it... But one thing here is, you know, sometimes we are asleep to such an extent that when we're in those states, and they aren't if we were living consciously, those aren't states that we would choose for ourselves. Because all of these states, when these energies consume us, have their own consequence. And if, like Maharaji says, Anjanat Bhikhya Maharacha. Maharaj says that in my ignorance, I was engrossed in that poison. Bhikhya means poison. They've translated it here to corruption, but literally means poison. So anger is when that energy has taken over and consumed us, for example, and then there's a consequence of that. It's got its own nature that is going to, you know, fold out. So it's going to have a certain effect on our body, on our mind, right? So it's not that you just got on with it and innocently. It's actually the sleep was so deep that you didn't even know it was a thing that you was in.
And I lived the majority of my adult life in that state, that second stage, where I moved from the innocent stage into the world is so corrupt. So I've got to utilize this energy to fight the world in order to survive. So in effect, I've been in survival mode.
And Maharaj actually says that, Kete Mangeh, there's so many people that are begging. Like, Kete, so many. Jodh, Apar. Like, it doesn't matter how big somebody is in their world, in their life. Jodh, somebody could be a warrior. And Maharaj saying that even they are begging at the door of that one. And it's essentially what you just said there, isn't it? That you are failing miserably at that, but true failure would be if you completely gave up and wasn't even trying and attempting at that. So, and that's why, again, I always like to do this for the Sangha, to read out some of the translations that we've been doing in written form as well, that there are many warriors begging infinitely. Oh, how do you say that word?
Infinitely.
Infinitely, there you go. Infinitely at the door of the one. And isn't that so beautiful? Because they're saying, all right, because, you know, sometimes we could come across as being somebody such person in society, in the world, and people think so much of us, not knowing that we are begging to in that fight, right? To say that, okay, I'm not giving up, but I'm not saying I'm winning as well. And I'm continuing this fight, and I'm going to continue begging. And that's when the Maharaj says that, Ketia Ganat, Nehee, Veechaar. They're saying that I cannot contemplate the amount of those who are begging from the one. So, you know, sometimes we feel alone in this fight.
Of course.
In that moment when you saying that gasket blew, and that was last night, and that happens for different people at different times. And in that moment, you feel alone and you think, it's just me. I'm the idiot that goes through this. Everyone else is pretty much got their stuff together. I spoke to somebody yesterday, like I said, I'm fortunate, even through the one-to-one sessions that I provide through Journey of Compassion. Somebody was saying to me yesterday, I just feel alone, and that I'm the only mother that probably feels like this, and having this very specific thought and feeling come up. And I said, the one thing is, because of my work, I get to speak to so many people. One thing I can tell you, you're not alone. Yeah, and I think this is what this Pankti is doing for us, is saying, actually, Ketia, Ganat. You cannot contemplate. Ganat means Ganati. Like, you cannot know the amount of so many people that are going through something or another. And that doesn't make it okay to say, well, keep doing what you're doing, as in failing. No, it's saying that don't feel alone. There's more of us in that battle than you think. So reach out somehow.
It's the hardest thing to do in that moment.
Yes.
And Baji, so what you're describing again is my life story. Like, why I like to talk to people like yourself, and I like to, I've got clarity of what my ardas is for my position within our panth to serve the Khalsa panth. This is my ardas, is to share my life pain and experience, because I've always known everything happens for a reason.
See, I'd love to say something about that, because I've been contemplating this, even based off what Guru Gobind Singh Ji says in Khalsa Mema, where they talk about how to take care of other Gursikhs. You know the reason for that? You know how you said you want to serve the Khalsa Panth?
Yeah.
You know, Guru Gobind Singh Ji's vision for us is for us to live as best as we can as that Khalsa.
100%.
So we support each other.
Yes.
But why? So then we can look after the rest of the world.
Vaheguru. 100%. And when I talk about the Khalsa Panth,
I just really wanted to get that.
Of course, and it's good. I love when you say that kind of stuff, because it helps me express what I truly feel then, right?
Yeah.
Why I'm all about the Khalsa Panth is because I believe the Khalsa's position in the world is to serve the feet of the world, because we're all, this is the creation of the Guru. So I'm all about the world and everybody. So it's not just us thing.
And you know why Maharaj said that?
So,
Maharaj said that if you help another Khalsa brother,
yes,
if you do that, right, because a Khalsa is fighting that battle to live righteously.
Yes.
And we need people that are fighting that battle and living in that righteous manner, that then go out to try and serve, I don't want to say
the journey of compassion,
help, so that we then go out and serve the rest of the world.
Of course.
Because we then have, what don't we have? Dil na Tamaae. Vadda data til na Tamaae. There's no tamanna here that we are here to serve you because we want you to convert.
Exactly.
We want you to take on this religion.
No.
Do you get it? And that's why Maharaj said strengthen the Khalsa, because they will have no agenda. They will just serve for the sake of serving.
100%. And why I love this YouTube channel and
I'm
what
so
you're doing.
Glad, that came out.
Yes.
It's been a Veechaar in my head for
Beautiful.
a while. And I didn't know where I'm going to express it.
Good.
But
and you know, like,
thank you,
no, Maharaj is doing Beyond the Kirpa Paji. Like for me, the Khalsa is anybody that aligns with this philosophy within their hearts. It's not Punjabis from Punjab. It's the Khalsa is for the whole world, just like Vaheguruji is for the whole world. So you could be sitting in America, Africa, Australia, or Antarctica. If the message of the Guru speaks to your heart, you can become the Khalsa, become the change that you wish to see in the world, and serve the world. You know what I'm saying? Deg fateh.
And look what Maharaj says next. It says, Kete Khap Tutte Vekaar. Maharaj saying, but look how many people haven't managed to awaken the world, and they've ended up, Punjabi khap ke mar gaya. Khap ke means that they just waste away, and tutta vekaar, because they ended up just engaging in vekaar. Kaar means to live in that flow of Vaheguru with that prem, and then vekaar is the opposite to that. When you're resisting that beautiful flow of love, and you're living the opposite to that, in resistance to that, where you create resentment and hate for the world. Maharaj is saying there's so many people that have wasted away living their life like that.
Bitterness, I think is, you can, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that you can gauge how close you are to the one or the truth or your highest self based on bitterness and humility. Because bitterness is a woe is me state, my ego has been so hurt. When I say ego, that's self-identity, or you've extrapolated so much pain that then you give bitterness.
Think about how much, if you think about circumstances, Guru Arjan Dev Ji was in the perfect place,
Of course.
to give bitterness at that moment.
Of course.
They
And
could have spewed so much hate towards the people that were doing what they were doing, but they didn't become a victim of that. They remained sweet.
I tell you who I take the most haunsla from, and right now, in the last few months and weeks, who I'm hoping to align with and become, like, who, you have to have role models.
Yes.
Right? And the Sakhiyan are our role models. The Puratan Singhs, the ones that had Guruji's actual darshan, are the ones that we look to hopefully even be the pandit duft of their feet. By Dayala ji, by Sati Das ji, Mati Das ji, right? I experience this within my own life now, that I always thought that we're supposed to like use Naam, so when they come to cut us, that we won't even feel the pain of that cut. And every time I go to the doctors and they come to put that sui in me, and I'm crying like a little baby, and I'm going to utilize my breath, look away, and I feel every bit of pain. And I'm like, I'm not them. How do they do that? And I'm supposed to achieve that. But I've realized that life is sawing me in half daily. I'm being wrapped in cotton and burnt alive. And that I'm being boiled alive by life on the day. I realized that what happened to them physically, with the external representation, was happening to me and us internally. And how did they get away from it? The only ardas was, point me towards my guru and align me to the shabad.
And I tell you what, Veerji, that's one thing that resonates with me so deep. Because I remember there was a time, when I go back about 6-7 years ago, I could not do a katha for some reason without mentioning Bhai Mati Das ji. And now reflecting on it, it's because I needed his strength so bad. That he was that one that when they first took those sharp teeth and the first saw, when the initial blood started to squirt out, he sang and he says, Aara pyara lagat hai, sahje sahje hoe. Those are the words that he sang those words. He said, Aara pyara lagat hai. This so is so sweet to me because I haven't turned my back.
I can still hear that katha in my head from yourself. The way you guys say it, you make it so real that I'm transported back to those moments in time within my heart and my mind.
I always say to people, take strength from those shaheeds. I was speaking to somebody the other day that has got some very specific struggles this person has in their life. And the one thing that just came through to me intuitively, because I didn't know what else to say in that moment, was draw strength from those Gursikhs and look at the pictures of the chehre, of the faces of Gurmukhs like Bhai Fauja Singh, who became Shaheed in 1978 when the Nirankaris, came out in Amritsar and they went to protest, and Bhai Fauja Singh became Shaheed. Look at their faces and draw strength from their lives in this moment for you to do this ardas, to get out of this difficult period and pit that you feel that you have fallen into. So Maharaj saying, look, this Kete Khap Tutte Vekaar, there's many people that are wasting away just living a life of Vekaar outside of that flow of Parmeshwar. And look what Maharaj says here. This is Kete la Mukar Paahi. This comes back to Veerji, the beginning, what we said is then living a life of unappreciation. I think that's a word. And Maharaj saying, those are the fools in this world. They're saying you've taken so much and you are completely denying even receiving any of it. All these things that we've been given and bestowed, we'd be fools to deny how much we've been given. And sometimes we fall asleep to these things that we've got and we've been given. So Maharaj, here I take this as saying, don't become that person that is taking so much and that is then denying that you've been even given anything. Yeah.
It takes me back to the first punkti you shared. This whole thing, conversation and this life experience, you've shared that paradigm now. You made that paradigm switch. Bahuta Karam, Likhia na Jaae. Because through all my darkness, Maharaj kept bestowing the love, the kirpa. And you know me better than anybody that I've ever met. You know, I feel unworthy of the love of the Sangat. Because I'm thinking, why do you love me? You shouldn't love me. If you knew me, you should not love me. You should, God bless
I'll tell you something we're talking about authenticity today.
Yeah, of course.
I did ardas. Even like when I might have to hear something that you've had your little fall and that it's then impacted people very close to you, your immediate family.
Yeah.
And then if I'm having to receive that, and remember, I'm able to do this because I put myself in everyone's shoes.
Yeah.
I remember back to moments when I'm there. And so it doesn't become that judgmental Baljit of how can they, how could they? Because first thing I do every time in my life is think back to moments when I had similar moments and how people have still stood by me, how people have still loved me. So when I hear, say, if somebody has been, say, on the receiving end of something, I actually did ardas, and I did that yesterday as well. I did ardas that don't ever let me stop loving him.
Waheguru. Yeah. Good.
No matter what.
Yeah.
And I don't want to deny these gifts and keep them. And, there was, like I said, I didn't know which direction this was going to go. I had other stories in my mind that I could have shared about these lines, but this has become very real and authentic, which is going to resonate, and the way people are going to receive this is going to be so much more impactful. Maharaj go on to say, Kete Moorakh Khaahee Khaahi. There are so many fools that continue to consume but deny that they are even consuming in the gifts of that one. There are so many that we seem to overlook at times. There are so many times where we forget to be in that thankful state, not realizing the more we keep ourselves there in that state of thankfulness, the better our next step will be in life. And when we think that we need to be that justifying person and that person that plays that certain role of becoming a victim, we don't realize that is creating its own energy, which is going to then lead to taking a different type of step. But when we live in this state of denial of the gift that one has given to us, and like I said today, for me, my focus has been on the life of Sangat and these beautiful opportunities that I'm provided with. Because it's so easy, even whilst having that, this is a life that people are praying to have, right? So this is a life that people are praying to have, but there's times when I've got this life, I get to do this as even my paid work. I get to talk about, share the Guru's wisdom. I can still fall asleep to it and forget to be thankful for that amazing gift that has been brought to my life. I do not want to be that fool that is consuming this lifestyle of sharing with the Sangat and being in the presence of the Sangat, getting to do kirtan, getting to speak to the Sangat, be at the feet of the Sangat. And I don't want to be that one that is consuming that gift from the Guru, from Vaheguru. And I don't want to be that fool. And Maharaj is saying, Ketia, Dookh, Bhookh, Sadmar. And I want to draw everyone's attention to this because we've translated this in a, more unique or different way that you would often see it. And I'm going to read it out the way we've translated it, is that many see suffering caused by desires as a calling to return home. This is a turning point, because Maharaj saying Dookh, Pook, they've put these two words together because they're saying that the real suffering in this world comes from Pook. Pook meaning the hunger for desires, meaning you thinking that happiness is in the next moment. That is your suffering, full stop. Not realizing it's not available to you now. Not realizing that Vaheguru is available to you right now in this moment. Bliss is available to you right now in this moment. Compassion is available to you right now. Love is available to you right now. If I keep putting that off, thinking it's in the next moment, that next moment is never going to come. And that is the dukkh, the suffering that we live in when we think that I desire this and this is going to bring me that. And that is the dukkh, that cycle, that day never comes. Maharaj saying, when you realize that this is a suffering, that I keep thinking that the desire, the energy of that desire, thinking that true happiness or Vaheguru is in the next moment of life. Only if I achieve this, only if I achieve this. Make that now your calling back to Vaheguru. Maharaj actually said that suffering in of itself should be your sadmar. Tenu oh tera dukh oh Vaheguru vallon sadda Punjabi ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ
sadmar.
ਹਾਂ
ਸੁਣਿਆ ਨਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ? It makes sense now.
Sadmar means ਉਹਨੇ ਸੱਦਾ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
Right? So imagine you're the suffering. Yeah, as in you're my, say if suffering had a form, right? Say I'm suffering, but and say if it had a form, and that's the form, right? And the suffering is, through that, is calling me back home. Through the suffering, there's a calling back home. Yeah.
That's the stage I'm at. So yesterday I had a proper meltdown, gasket blown, acting like a child, tantrum, right? And I had become rage after a long episode of non, right? And then I felt so terrible and guilty, and not in the moment. In the moment, I felt very justified, like a dragon or whatever it be, And but then instead of me holding on to the guilt and letting me bring down, with Maharaj's Kirpa, I was able to see my role in it, accept my whole responsibility in it, and it was nothing to do with the people that I blew up at. Completely different factors had just got to me slowly. And then I'm realizing that I'm not cleaning the inside as deeply or properly or constantly as I need to. So it makes me realize how my body and my soul and my breath work, because I think I'm doing it. But then you can only judge a fruit by its tree, a tree by its fruit. If that's the fruit that's coming out, and there's nothing wrong with the technology of the pot. There's my implementation of it.
So if we just really look at this from a deeper place, sometimes we get afraid of pain. Even if we look at physical pain, really it's a calling to draw our attention to something. Our arm might be in pain, but don't run away from that pain. It's calling for your attention.
100%.
To saying, look at this. You need to deal with this. But there's things that when we are suffering on a mind level and we've got anxiety or whatever, even that is drawing our attention to something, to saying that you've come away from your home of Sahaj, and let that uncomfortable feeling, that pain that turns into then a suffering because of the way we are responding to it, actually it's just calling us back. It's bringing to our attention, look, that is what is that? Bhi Daat.
100%.
Teri Daat. Like if we didn't have some form of uncomfortableness, pain, or something come up, right? How would I even know that I've come away from my true home, from Waheguru?
100%.
Yeah. So that is Bhi Daat. It's a gift from the giver of gifts. Pain is to let us know that something's off.
100%.
Like even when we come away from Waheguru, so for example, if we fall into a pit of something like anger or jealousy, that is the suffering that causes is actually an alarm system to say you've come away from your homeostasis, from your balanced place of being with Akal Purkh, being with Waheguru. Like if that wasn't there, how would we know?
Of course.
If we're in a smooth path, you could say that is Sahaj Waheguru. We fall off that path, and then, but that path on the side of that motorway is just full of thorns. The thorns then prickle us, but then that is actually a gift to say you've come away. Right? And that pain allows us, it can become then our gift as a calling back to say you need to go back to that Sahaj.
Waheguru. And this brings me back now to what I figured out, where my ardas is for where my position within our panth can be. Because everybody that I look up to, the likes of yourself, Bhai Jagraj Singh Ji, Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, Gyani Kulwant Singh Ji, all beyond the Kathavajiks, Prachariks that are doing the true seva of the panth, I've come to realize I can never become them. I can only try to blossom as me. And where I hope my seva would be, is to express authentically my lived experience of Sikhi, the good, bad, and ugly. And even when I'm going through the depths of it, I'm speaking to the Sangat within my mind, and I've come to realize I'm not actually speaking to the Sangat. There's something higher speaking to me. That there's something higher speaking to me, trying to first teach me the way out. And then if something higher is speaking to me to fix me, help me, heal, I want to express those thoughts outwardly, because I feel that we mainly have the similar experience of life. There's countless Gursikhs out there that are truly suffering depression, this, that, the other, anxiety, all kinds of things. But we turtle away, we hide away, and then I think our Gurdwaras look like, or they seem to have become, museum pieces where we go to show off who we are, where in reality our Gurdwaras are hospitals where the sick like myself come to heal. So if we find the healing and we have similar experiences, the more we share with each other, the more open and honest that we are, and then we extrapolate the teachings of the Guru in a very real way, how they helped us overcome and become better and move towards that which we think a Gursikh, because I'm only trying to emulate what I imagine a Gursikh should be or a Khalsa should be, and try to walk towards that end, but authentically as who I am. Because you can't fit a square into a circle. You understand? Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to match up who I am with that vision and walk the path. And I hope to express myself authentically in the hopes that my life experience can help those others that are suffering, and to say, hey, look, I've been there and there's light at the end of the tunnel. Mm-hmm. And Bhaji, look, I just want to say
that's what
heartfelt thank you to you, because honestly, if it wasn't for Gursikhs like yourself that never gave up on me, even when I gave up on myself, that's the power of Sangat. And there's countless yous, but you specifically have been like a godsend from Vaheguruji for all of us, I believe, not only to me. So, and any praise to you is direct praise of Vaheguruji and Guruji, because I only believe that Vaheguruji is working through their Gursikhs. And it could be anybody I meet at a different program, or anybody. I'm looking at every Khalsa, be it a Kaur or a Singh, trying to find their virtues, extrapolate that, and become that. And we find in different Sangat, we get different things. And I just file it away as something that's, I want to become that, and try to work towards that end.
Right, cool. Vijay, and there's so much Gurbani that comes to my mind when as you are speaking, but obviously we want to save that for other podcasts. I put my hands together because again I just want to bow back to the Guru, where the wisdom comes from. Everything that you just said there, and even though it might be pointed towards this vessel, but the wisdom is the Guru's. I'm a Moorakh as well, if I was to live what I think living should be. And Maharaj says, go on to say that Band Khalasee Bhanai Hoe. That look, Band means from being trapped and bound in these different attachments in our life. And Khalasee, liberation from that comes from Bhanai Hoe, is walking in the way of that one's divine will. You know, and we've got to find that divine will, because there's a beautiful harmony to this whole system and the way Waheguru is. And we've got to try and find and fit into that flow of life. And the pain is all resisting that flow. There is a natural flow that is that divine. Yeah. And then the resistance of that is the duality that we talk about, is the shadow. And it's falling into that. And that speaks in Prem, in Anand. Yeah. And it comes from, and so when we're not in that state, we are resisting that flow. These are simple indications. When we're not in those states of pure love, pure that sense of stillness, of bliss, that means there's something we are resisting that is then falling into that shadow self that you refer to. But there is a flow. And all of Guru's technology that they are giving us is something out of there will resonate more with some people. Some people will get and just sing, and they will fall into that flow of Prem, which just is. And you'll be in Anand. Maharaj saying that, Band Khalasee Bhanai Hoe. You'll feel free when you're in that flow. And you got to find, be intuitive to the things that are taking you into that flow that the Guru has given you. Hor aakh na sakay koi. Nobody else has any say in this, the way Waheguru's game system works. We have to play to Waheguru's way. Yeah. I'm just going to go through these panktiyan. Guruji says then, Je ko khayak aakhan paye. Khayak is like a fool of all fools. Not just a standard one. He's a proper fool. Maharaj saying that if a fool suggests another way contrary to the one's divine will, if I think I can fight that system, that Waheguru's will, and I can create a different way, then Maharaj saying, Oho Jaae Japji Moorakh Khaahee. They're saying, look, those fools know who have been smacked in the face from their choices against that divine will. You've spoke about this. Maharaj saying, oh Jaae, they'll know. Japji Moorakh, Jenane, Jere Moorkhane, those fools that have been smacked by trying to go a different way to this beautiful flow of life.
And Bhaji, this makes me realize too, you know how some people pose like theoretical questions like, if you had a time, would you like $10 million or would you like a time machine to go back with the knowledge you have now to go back? And I've come to realize that even if I would not change a thing in my life, I could not, because I can see it's all been a progression. And if every little thing didn't happen, the negatives and the positives and how I reacted to it, as much as I wish I could change it, but the very people there would be a change in the very fabric of existence. And I believe that our lives are a progression. That, every great story has an arc. A character starts here, goes on this big long arc, and then ends there.
They say, I've heard a few people say that, look, it's just up to you now how long you want to stay at the bottom. But there's going to be a a climb and a peak as well. But it's just now you decide how long you want to stay there.
Waheguru.
In that pit, in that resistance to that beautiful flow of life that is.
And with the Sangat's, again, Sangat's darshan, it's helping me be more accepting of the love and choosing the higher way. And without Sangat, I'm completely lost. Because it's maybe steps going up this way, but it's like a steep slide going back that way.
So then
Snakes and ladders.
Maharaj says that Aape Janai Aape De, that one knows and gives accordingly to that one. And as in, we can't alter the way this system has been built. And we've spoke about this in other podcasts. So otherwise, like I said, each Bhangati could be a podcast, but then we've covered what that flow looks like and what it means to go against that. Khalsa Bhanai Hoe, Maharaj saying that there are very few who recognize the blessings of the one. And we just want to be really, we want to wake up to that one's blessings.
Baji, there's something that I want to say here on the word recognize, because I think the closer you are to somebody, let's talk about the family unit, the more of them you can see holistically, and then you can accurately see, okay, their goods and their bads, quote unquote, where when you're out in public, the perception may be only one way, and it's very easy to pick out the gun, the virtues of somebody when you're not around them as much. But I think there's even the family unit that we've been bestowed and blessed with, it's all a technology, again, to work through our own karma and to overcome life and become our highest self. So I believe that we're given the right partners, the right people that are so close to us. And then, let's say you might consider yourself to be, I'm quite decent now. But then somebody really close to you can really help you dig down deep and say, look, there's a whole other a factory down there, levels of gand. Go down, 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 and clean the gand from down there. Clean that gand way down there,
That can be very humbling.
Yeah, so the family unit, again, there's a technology to it. So when we have whatever, I'm talking about my brothers, my sister, my wife, all these people, the closest friends to me, I can see the technology. The jagare that you have, the thing that you have. My wife is always explaining things to me like karma and dharma. I can choose the path of karma and recreate drama, or I can break it through dharma, choosing the right way. And I'm in that process now. But people that we've been blessed with are the blessings.
My Guru. And Guru then comes back to say to us, starting from that there's an abundance of blessings, is saying, but jisnu bakshe sifat salah. But those that have truly been blessed with sifat, the praise of that one, and salah, we could say those that truly live in a state of appreciation of the abundance that is coming their way, and to be in praise of that. Maharaj even then uses the language in such a way to say jisnu bakshe, those that are blessed with appreciation, so that your ego doesn't get in the way to say, look how appreciative I am. It's a fine game.
It's cool, yeah.
So Maharaj says, don't try and own that. Yeah, because even that's a blessing if you are in a state of praise to that one.
Live in thanks of that.
Yes. And then they say, then who are you? They say, Nanak, Badshaahi, Badshaaho. They're saying you are free, you are sovereign, you are on top of the world. You are that highest self that you've been referring to. You are then the king of kings. If you truly are able to see the game and the blessings and the abundance of that one, we cannot even speak without that one's blessing. How detailed it is for everything to come together to be able to speak is no small thing. We've just used this voice. Thank you, Vaheguru.
You know, everything you're describing there to me, then when you, Maharaj's Kripa, become that or even glimmer that, then I believe that you do walk the journey of compassion. You understand? And the journey of compassion to me would be when you go out into the world to spread that love and become love. Become love. To me now, that's the heart. I had this forna just the other day that, you know, my goals always used to be financial and like you know, try to become somebody decent. I want to become love and experience love. If you become love, and that's my highest aim now that I could think of. And to me, I know I'm going to fail daily. And then and that's why I believe Maharaj is pure love. And wherever they've gone, they've spread that love.
So I want to just give this message to the Sangat on that note, wrapping up the podcast, the episode today is saying that if truly that is in your heart, I say this to the Sangat as well, if truly that is in your heart to be in that state of love and then spread and give out that love, then if you visit that every day inside of yourself, you got to keep reminding yourself,
of course,
of that love every day. That's the work that you've got to do.
So I've experienced the opposite of that for so long. So
if you keep reminding yourself that every first thing, wake up and just sit up in your bed and put your hands together and say that, let me be in a state of love. Let me be in that right now in this moment, and sit until something happens, which is grace, and you're in that love and carry that love. Do that as a practice every day and just see the magic unfold.
And when I speak, I'm speaking to myself to like realign my life's goals. Because if I'm aiming for, I'm going to end up there. But if I'm aiming there, I might meander towards that direction.
I'm definitely with you. I too am constantly reminding myself, this isn't a teaching that I'm pointing and giving to someone. I'm sharing my life and relationship with the Guru, with the world.
Just a benti to the Sangat before we leave. I'm not sure if you must know by now about Bhai Sahibji's Journey of Compassion. There's a website. Please go onto that website and check it out. And also, every Sunday at 6 p.m., Bhai Sahib does a live seminar, a live session, a contemplation series where they go through Japji Sahib with Sangat all over the world. The times I've gone on there, how much I've taken from it, and anybody that I meet that I want to help more, I physically tell them, say, please log on to this free thing that's going to be Cyber Sangat throughout the world, people all over the world. So give it a shot. Just log in, it's for free, and you're going to love it. And then you have this feeling of Sangat that we have right now every Sunday, and it's like a resetting, a realignment. And I see by Baljit Singh, he gets more from it than he gives to it. So, and it's just I consider myself the entry guy. I see myself as spreading the message and saying, hey, look, there's where they're doing all the seva. Come to the Gurdwaras, come to these programs, all these amazing Jathabandiyaan. Every single one of them, you can get different value, something decent from them. But sometimes you can't get to the Gurdwara. You might literally be sitting in the middle of Africa, middle of somewhere, middle of here. But if you have internet connection, you can log on to this, give it a shot. I promise you'll get value from it, and it has a potential to change your life if you allow it to.
Thank you, Viji, for being here today, a part of this space and contemplating Guru Nanak's beautiful wisdom, the truth, and sharing your journey of finding your way.
The ongoing.
Jujna,
that's where I'm at, Jujna.
Okay. So thank you, Sangat Ji, for joining us today. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Please donate and help spread Guruji's message. Link is in the description below. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.